Hello. I want to talk about let's see. So I'm gonna talk about I forget what I was gonna. I'm gonna talk about I think this is one of the most important things or lessons for youth to learn about. It's that the advice I'll give for youth is that to not focus on, let's say, good versus bad. Instead of focus on developing your consciousness around something, around a particular thing, instead of focusing on, let's say, the goodness or badness of an action that somebody does or whatever. Because consciousness is beyond people's idea of what is good and bad or right or wrong. Let's say, or if you want to access more consciousness, you would have to see yourself as a bad person. That's so because good and bad is essentially, let's say, a construct that exists in the mental fields of men, or this mental construct that men create, and essentially, let's say, consciousness itself is beyond the mental construct that men have created, and also, let's say, an answer that a person is seeking is beyond the mental, let's say, consensus or construct that men have created for themselves. So, regarding right versus wrong, good versus bad. So that's why it's very important for youth to not necessarily pay attention to good versus bad. Instead, pay attention to developing consciousness. Also, let me think about what I was going to say before after that. I forget what I was going to ask. I want to say something, but I forgot what I was going about. Let's see. Oh yeah. I'm gonna talk about, let's say, one of the most, let's say, dangerous things that people or humans believe in. So, or that, let's say, unconsciousness within humanity is about. The thing is that throughout history, or let's say throughout like history beyond our history, or let's say 1900s or 1800s or whatever, or let's say 1900s, people have been predominantly been focused on survival itself. Um, that's until um, we've developed the capacity to create a situation in our lives or physically where our survival wasn't a direct threat or in our environment, and so we don't focus on survival anymore. Um, we focus on something else, or we focus on love, or focusing on developing a relationship, um, stuff like that, you know. Um, and so, but the thing is that humanity, essentially, or some parts of humanity, the consciousness of humanity, grasped on to certain ideations regarding survival-based thinking. They hold on to it because their mind is already in that arena. And so their mind has to exit the arena in order to realize that it won't help them survive through the survival mentality that they have. And so because of that, I think when people have that mentality still, it could be dangerous because they could play a zero sum on somebody else because of that is created from their desire to be safe or secure instead of creating connection with other people or creating love with other people or bonding with other people. So yeah. So I think that one of the most dangerous unconsciousness that exists with humanity is that in itself. So also also I let's say the most shocking thing that I realized, or one of the shocking things that I realized about the way that love was portrayed in the past is that love was just an idea for people, and love essentially was a Hollywood concept that people reacted on the screen. And instead of like there actually being love, it was actually strong identification, and people are not admitting to that. Instead, or they're holding on to the idea that something was love when it was just identification with something. And that's just crazy to think that um, that essentially that you could be lost by someone else's behavior because they themselves are not admitting that something is true, or their mind isn't admitting that something is true. So like, or they're not admitting it to you. So that's crazy. Or so yeah. So